I've known Mark Bouris for a long time, and there's no better judge of the housing and mortgage market in Australia. But when his wizard business got sold to GE, and then GE later sold it to John Simons and the Commonwealth Bank, Mark was out of a job. And guess what he's doing? He's starting all over again, not with exactly the same thing, but a very similar network of branches that is going to tackle the banks, not just again in mortgages, but in all sorts of services. And the fascinating thing is that he's doing all the same things. He's setting up a network of branches, franchise branches. He's linked with the Nine network. And all of this is designed to start a new business. If you're ever thinking of starting a new business, listen to this video. Mark, you've spent almost all your life taking on banks. Do you think they have a fundamental weakness?
Well, today they certainly do, because today the bank system is so concentrated that the concentration in the banking market means that they can't grow greater than the system being GDP, etc. So whilst they appear to be marketing against each other in terms of branding, etc., and some of the banks are doing a brilliant job of that branding repositioning, like NAB, doing a great job, they're never going to grow too much beyond the system. My game is to come in and take some market share from them. And when they're all attacking each other, which is what they're doing at the moment, or all mauling each other, what I do is I just keep stripping off small percentages as I go along in every category: financial planning, insurance, and mortgages today, as opposed to the old days.
But how do you tap that weakness? What's the strategy?
Okay, the strategy is this: I can't beat the banks in the way they market because I can never spend that sort of money and make money. One. Two, where I can beat the banks though is at a regional level. What I mean by that is I select a region in Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, or anywhere in Australia for that matter. It can be Ballina in New South Wales, it could be Gosford in New South Wales, it can be the Mornington Peninsula in Victoria. And I make sure that the guy who runs that branch for me outperforms in those categories, outperforms the bank in that particular region. So I basically create spot fires, and I go and attack at that spot. Our goal is to be number one within each region. So I roll out a franchise system. In my franchise system, which is just under 70 branches at the moment, I make sure that each individual and his or her team in that region, in Victoria, New South Wales, Queensland, Perth, wherever, outperforms the bank in that particular zone. And that's our game plan, because that man for man, I'm going man for man. I'm not playing the bank or the banking system. I'm playing man for man in each region.
And of course the banks have lowered their branch calibre. The old bank manager's not there now, is he?
Correct, and we play the game where we want to look after you, we want to offer you service, we want to actually give you advice. This whole old game of service and we're there for you, etc. No, I'm actually want to take advice or democratise advice at the branch level. Real democratisation, not product game, not come in, we've got all these products, you select the product, the Woolworths system, you look on our shelves and you take the product you want. I'm actually saying to them, we will find you the product, to our customers, we will find you the product that best suits you. So if you're in Lakemba in Sydney, we'll find you a product that fits your demographic. And it'll be done by a guy who lives in the area, who knows what you need, he'll be paying rent in his area commensurate with the sort of service and advice that he's offering and charging you for. So it's all packaged up appropriately. We're not applying the big Martin Place mentality across the board. We're actually tailor-making the service, the advice, at the lowest common denominator. That is what the demography requires.
Where are you getting the people in the various areas to do this sort of thing?
Well,
that's a pretty skilled job.
It is, and a lot of these guys are coming out of the mortgage industry. The mortgage industry in this country, Australian mortgage products are considered the most sophisticated mortgage products in the world, number one. Number two, Australians are considered a very sophisticated, globally, a very sophisticated mortgage, have a very sophisticated mortgage understanding. The people who sell mortgages, or who have advised the mortgage over the past 20 years, since securitisation started in this country, are considered very good at what they do. There is a natural progression for these mortgage people to move into, in a career sense, to move in a broader financial advice environment, which is where the legislation's moving, which is what customers now want. They just don't want you to tell them, oh, you buy a house, get a mortgage, and it's going to go up 8% per annum, because it doesn't. We all know that. I'm now recruiting out of that mortgage industry, primarily out of the mortgage industry.
These are your old wizard people.
Old wizard guys.
Yes.
Old wizard guys and all the guys that we've met through the wizard process. I mean, we must have, at some stage rather, recruited 700 salespeople over a 15-year period.
Where are you going to get the product? How do you get that?
Well, we're agnostic in terms of product.
You've linked with a credit union.
We are with a credit union, but we're agnostic in terms of the product that suits you. I have to find the product that's best for you. It's no longer, I'm going to push you down your throat, my product. If my product's right for you, it's right for you, but I'm
What
going to
if it's a CBA product?
I'll sell a CBA product.
Will you?
Absolutely. We're agnostic.
Okay.
If the CBA product is best for you, and the CBA product to be best for you though, it's got to outperform my product. CBA product or the ANZ product to be best for you, whether it's insurance or superannuation or a mortgage or a personal loan or whatever it is, a deposit account, to be best for you, it's got to be the best in the marketplace, given your circumstances. That's what I'm talking about, advice. We're agnostic, we're providing you advice. We're not a broker, we're an advisor. We're not acting for an agent.
So where do you get your money? How do you make your money?
Well, in terms of the product suites, in terms of mortgages, we find you the best product. We get paid by the entity whose product we provide, unless it's one of our own products, unless it's a YBR product, in which case we don't get paid by them. We disclose to you what we're going to get paid, and if you're not happy with it, you don't have to proceed with that. There's a full disclosure.
Do you charge me a fee?
Not on mortgages,
okay,
but on things like insurances, where a statement of advice is required, superannuation, insurance, life insurance, home insurance, if it's just general investment advice, your retirement advice, I charge you a fee. I say, this is how much we're going to charge for this. Well, my guys charge you a fee. This is how much we're going to charge for this. If you don't like it, you don't have to take up the advice. End of story.
In both Wizard and in Yellow Brick Road, you've linked with the Packers. Why do you do that?
Well, Yellow Brick Road, just to be clear on this, Robert, Yellow Brick Road is Nine Entertainment.
Yes.
Wizard was Packer.
Yes.
Why do I do it? Well, apart from Packer being a great mate of mine, and as far as I'm concerned, a great individual in terms of his own investment portfolios, apart from that, and apart from the power of the name, it's very important, as I said right at the beginning, in order to take on the bank's marketing spend, I can't spend $50 million a year, because I will never make money. But what I can do is spend $1 million a year or $1.5 million a year and leverage the hell out of it, and the only way I can leverage the hell out of it is by doing a deal with a media platform, which is what I did with Wizard, is what I'm going to do, which we've announced, which we're going to do with Yellow Brick Road with Nine Entertainment Group. So what that allows me to do is every dollar I spend, I want to get $10 worth. So if I spend $1.5 million, I get $15 million worth of valuation. Now, why would Nine Entertainment do that? Because Nine Entertainment in return is going to get up to 19.9% of Yellow Brick Road. A liquid asset, because it's listed, which is why we did the listing, make it more attractive to them. And also, this allows them to grow their business value as a group outside of just straight advertising and straight increases in margin. It's very, very powerful, and that's the only way you can beat the banks at their own game.
Is that why you went on the apprentice program?
Initially it was, yeah. It was to re-establish my relationship with Channel 9.
Yes.
It was to re-establish myself in the marketplace, not as the Wizard guy, but as the Yellow Brick Road guy. And it was a very purposeful, step-by-step program. But it was also, in a subtle way, was the way we recruited people to join the Yellow Brick Road movement as a branch owner.
Okay.
So we were actually appealing to all those entrepreneurs out there, whether they be in the mortgage industry, financial planning industry, accounting industry, insurance industry, to come and open up a Yellow Brick Road branch. And out of that, we got a couple of hundred inquiries, which then ended up in about 50 branch openings just from that show.
Okay, okay. So what do you think is going to happen to the housing market?
I'm somewhat concerned about the housing market. There's a few reasons. Self-prophecies. I mean, if we keep talking about what the problems with the housing market is, eventually everybody's going to believe it. And I'm a big believer in the influence of sentiment at an economic level, sentiment can actually drive prices down in any asset class. We have been getting belted for years by The Economist and a whole lot of other commentators that Australian house prices on a global level are too expensive. We've resisted that for many, many, many years. It's that, but if you keep saying something about an asset class, sooner or later it will become true. You'll get enough people to believe it, that enough people will act on it. I am concerned that Australian housing prices on an average basis are starting to slip back for that reason first. Second reason is we've had too many interest rate rises coming out of the GFC. Too great a momentum has been created by the Reserve Bank as far as I'm concerned, and it is starting to bite now. That we only needed 2 changes to the assumptions in the Reserve Bank's moves. The first one is a change in the output of the mining industry and the influence the mining industry has on this country, which we have just experienced more recently in Queensland. And of course the floods and those disasters, that caused another change in the assumptions. You take away the net income of somebody after mortgage tax and all their costs of living, you put them in a position where they've got very little left in their pocket. They're going to try and reduce their debt, which is everyone's now doing. You add that to what the banks are now offering in terms of these great deposit rates. They're encouraging people to put money in banks. Government guaranteed. You're effectively starting to take a lot away from the housing industry.
Okay. And finally, you made lots of money on Wizard by selling it to GE, and they couldn't run it. What made you start again?
That's a very interesting question. In 2009, I was in March 2009 when GE sold Wizard to Aussie-CBA. I really had nothing to do because my job had ceased. Yes. I was running Wizard up to that point for GE. And I was sort of hunting around what I could do, and I got involved in a small technology business as a result of someone asking me to help them. A hedge fund in the US asked me to help them out on it, which I did. But I think my real expertise is in financial services. And I had seen a massive change in the financial services industry. It's not siloed anymore. And you don't just go and buy a mortgage and buy financial planning and buy super and buy insurance. It's all cobbled together. People have this need. And I saw a shrinking in the marketplace. So I was sort of, I guess, seduced back into it to some extent. And also, Robert, it's what I do. I mean, only thing I know. Really all I know. And
there's only so much golf you can play.
Well, it's the same. Well, we all do what we know. We're all still doing the same thing that we've always done. And I'm glad to see you're still doing what you do. And it's all I can do. It's what I love and it's what I can do and where I can make a difference. And and also the circumstances open up to me. I was lucky. One of the good things that came out of the GFC for me was the shrinking of the market and the increase in the margins. And there's nothing more attractive for a disruptor like me, I'm a disruptor, to see big margins, a closed market, and me having some skills in that area. That's what attracts people like me. We go on that with our heads down, our tails up as fast as we possibly can. Most other people go, whoa, the market's controlled. I have nothing to lose in that. I'm a small starter. I'm not going to invest hundreds and hundreds of millions like a foreign bank might have to, and commit a whole lot of $1 billion worth of capital. I can come and just build it slowly, and every month I can have a 20% growth.
So you keep your money.
Hanging on to it.
Good on you.
That's what it's all about.
Thank you.
Thanks, Robert. Good to see you, mate.